Today, we are diving deep into a proven, science-backed framework that's built to tackle the biggest leadership challenges we're facing right now. We're talking about a return to leadership with heart, but one that's actually validated by data, and it comes from a place you probably wouldn't expect. Okay, let's get into it.
So, let me just start by asking you this, especially if you're a leader in learning and development. In this age of burnout and quiet quitting, are your leaders really equipped for what we're now calling the empathy economy? Are they actually building resilience, or are they just, managing exhaustion?
Because here's the problem we are all seeing, right? Everybody wants leadership with more heart, more emotional intelligence. But let's be honest, the traditional training models, the ones we've been using for years, they just aren't cutting it. They're not creating the kind of emotionally savvy, resilient leaders we desperately need to get through all this constant disruption. They're falling short.
Well, the framework we're exploring today started with one simple but really powerful question. The author and curriculum designer Michelle Smith had just finished a huge corporate keynote, and someone came up to her and asked, "Where did you learn to speak like that?" And that one question right there sparked a deep dive into the true origins of powerful, connected leadership. You see, the answer wasn't some fancy executive coaching program. It wasn't a corporate media training seminar. No, the real answer? It was the Black church. At just 14 years old, she was asked to teach Sunday school to a room full of adults, doctors, lawyers, you name it. And that aha moment got her wondering, wait a minute, is this a shared experience?
And wow, did the research confirm it? A survey of 155 high-performing Black leaders uncovered something incredible. A staggering 76% said their earliest leadership development came directly from their experiences in the Black church. So this wasn't just a one-off, it was a pattern, a proven cultural incubator for creating amazing leaders.
And that's the whole point, isn't it? For generations, the Black church has basically been the original business school. It's where these leaders learn the exact skills that corporations are now scrambling for: emotional intelligence, true resilience, how to collaborate, and the courage you need to lead when things get tough.
Okay, now this is the really cool part. This is where it all clicks into place. This framework takes all that cultural wisdom and connects it directly to hard science. So on one hand, you have these powerful cultural practices like call and response. But on the other hand, you have modern science calling that same thing neurocoupling, which is literally when people's brains sync up. Culture built it, and now science is finally giving it a name.
And that brings us to the solution, the Call and Response Leadership Revival Framework. It's a modern model that Michelle Smith designed to build complete, truly impactful leaders. And it moves in these concentric circles, which makes so much sense. You start with the self, then you move to relationships, and finally, you scale that impact out into the world.
So let's actually walk through how this works in the 18-week corporate series. Everything kicks off with a 6-week module on the absolute foundation of leadership, self-work, or what we call internal mastery, because you have to build from the inside out. So in this first module, your leaders learn how to take a cultural lesson like resilience and turn it into practical corporate adaptability. And the science behind it is all about mastering your stress response. It's literally about training your brain, your prefrontal cortex, to stay cool and think clearly when a crisis hits. And they also develop grit, which is anchored in neuroplasticity, this amazing ability our brains have to actually rewire themselves, building new pathways for perseverance just through practice. And here's the tangible benefit, inspired by incredible leaders like Trudy Bourgeois, who's featured in the book. This isn't just about toughing it out. It's about strengthening your entire resilient system. So when stress inevitably hits, your leaders don't snap. They actually respond with clarity and with purpose. Okay, so once you've built that strong internal foundation, the program naturally moves outward. The next 6 weeks are all about Module 2, relationship work, or social intelligence. This is where your leaders learn how to build that deep trust and psychological safety that you need for any high-performing team. Now, in this part, a core lesson like building community is tied to something called the broaden and build theory. Basically, science proves that when people feel good, when they feel like they belong, their minds literally open up to new ideas. And then for collaboration, we look at neural synchrony. This is just fascinating. It shows that when a team is really gelling, their brain patterns start to mirror each other. That's the science behind what team cohesion actually is. Just think about the kind of impact a leader who can do that has. A leader like Morgan Stanley's Carla Harris, who's also in the book and just embodies this. These collaborative leaders, they're not just managers, they're facilitators. They're actually activating the neural circuits for synchrony and creating a real sense of shared meaning and accountability on their teams. All right, so the final 6-week module is where we scale
everything up. It's called world work, and it's all about taking that internal mastery and team cohesion and using it to drive real innovation and lasting influence across the whole organization and even beyond.
In this last module, your leaders learn that creativity isn't some kind of magic. It's a condition you create. The science shows that a culture of hope and safety creates neural flexibility, making our brains physically better at coming up with new ideas. And when it comes to influence, we get into neural coupling and mirror neurons, which explains how a great storyteller can literally get their listeners' brains on the exact same wavelength as their own. It's how true connection happens.
So after these 18 weeks, what's the big takeaway? What's the ultimate outcome here? Look, it's not just about learning a few new skills. It's about fundamentally building a new kind of transformational leader for your company. I mean, this program is specifically designed to create more leaders like the trailblazers you read about in Call and Response. People like Sent Marshall, the CEO of the Dallas Mavericks, Carla Harris from Morgan Stanley, Heather Dowdy, Director of Product Accessibility at Netflix. These are the role models. This is the goal.
So bringing this into your organization isn't just another training program to check off a list. It's a strategic imperative. It's a dual opportunity, really. First, you get to reinforce these powerful leadership principles everywhere in your company. And second, you get to reactivate a proven pipeline for finding and growing exceptional, emotionally intelligent talent.
And that brings us to your call to action. If any of what we've just talked about resonates with the challenges you're facing and the goals you have for your leaders, well, here are the next steps.
It really is time to start your own leadership revival. It's time to move past the old, tired models and equip your teams with leadership that is actually grounded in purpose, backed by real science, and yes, infused with soul.
And the way forward is pretty simple. First, schedule a consultation with us so we can talk about implementing this 18-week series at your organization. And second, order the book Call and Response in bulk. Get this foundational text into the hands of your entire leadership team.
Everything you need to get started is right there. Look, the question isn't if leadership needs more heart anymore. We know it does. The question is, how are you going to build it? Visit lmichellesmith.com to start that conversation.